Hello, greetings, and good early morning because it is now 2:30 a.m. in the morning. I kind of have a story time about an ex-boyfriend. Well, this guy that I met um, on my job a long time ago, the Bush Airport, which he worked there also, but he worked for another company inside the airport, just like I did. Now I've made a story time about him. And I think the name that I used for him was Tim. He's the same dude who he um he and I was dating. We was dating in the year of 2007 all the way to 2008 until he broke up with me over the phone. He's the same dude that broke up with me, and then he got with this girl who was very obsessively in love with him. Like, the shit was so crazy, and it reminded me of a scenario back in the movies, but when I had a boyfriend a long time ago, and then I was riding the school bus with him and the other chick who he ended up with after he broke up with me, after he took my virginity. But in this case of scenario, it's like it had been probably 3 months after he broke up with me and broke my heart. And so I see him with this chick, and every day him and her was, because we all rode the same metro bus, and this was in the side of town of Houston called Greenspoint. But in order for us to get to the Bush Airport, we had to ride this 102 metro bus, the 102. And so every time that the bus would stop in his apartment complex, him and her would get on the bus together. And then later on, after work and stuff, they would get off the bus together. But supposedly they was in the back of the bus hugging on each other and kissing. And you see, I was actually like, him, and her, the three of us worked for the same company, because he had quit some company he was working for at the airport, and he started working for the same company I was working for. And it was a company called GCA Services, and she, the other woman who he broke up with me for, she was working for GCA Services, and he was too. But him and her were on the same shift. Okay, so like somehow she ended up working on in the same terminal inside of the airport, because she usually was working in Terminal E. But she ended up in Terminal C with me and this old lady that I was friends with, who was like instigating shit. I can't stand that woman. Just thinking about how wrong that old woman did me. But anyway, Tim and the chick, I'ma just say her real name, Regina. Tim and Regina, like, Regina had ended up somehow, her supervisor had her working on my shift in my terminal. And I really hated her at the time. I used to just stare at her, because every time all I could think about was the fact that she was always sitting with him in the back of the metro bus. The shit was fucking like high school. It was high school. It seemed like high school because it was a high school stupid ass situation. But he knew that how I felt about him. And just because at this time he had just got his, at first he was homeless, kind of living with people and sleeping on couches. But as soon as he got his apartment, as soon as Tim got his apartment, uh he had got his apartment with, as soon as he had got a check, because he worked on the night shift. But as soon as he had got a check, he had got his apartment. And I had only been over to his apartment before he and I broke up like 5 times. After that, sometimes I would just pop up over there. He would get up and open the door for me, but on 2 occasions that I came over there and I had knocked on his door. And this was before I went to work. Because he didn't answer. He didn't answer. And I knew this girl, Regina, was the reason why he didn't answer. He had stopped answering the door for me. Until that day on the phone, he let me know, well, I know I said you and I were together, but I think we should start to see other people. We're young and we're too young to be tied down. At the time, I was like, fuck you. And you just want to be with that girl that I always see you with on the job, and I don't appreciate. I was hurt. I was upset because I was like, you already had me coming to your house. And I was at the door in the freezing cold knocking, and you never did come and answer the door. It was because she was in that apartment with you, wasn't it? He was like, yeah. He was like, but you lucky, I'm telling you, because I don't have to tell you my business, who I let in my apartment. I'm like, I told him, Tim, like, when you first got this apartment, it was supposed to be an apartment for me and you to just chill. You were never supposed to have any other females coming to that apartment. He's like, this is my apartment. If I want to, I can invite any female I want to. And how you know these females are just, they not my girlfriends. They are just friends. And I can invite who I want to invite. He kind of put me through something, because imagine the fact that I would be at his apartment at night, and because I would always go to his apartment, I would always come to his house on a Friday, and I would leave the next day on a Saturday, but I would spend the night with him. And a chick would call his phone. This nigga would sit up there and talk to whoever this chick was, sitting next to me on the couch, in front of my face. He and I would sometimes ride the bus together to get to his house, and a chick will call his phone. We at the bus stop waiting on the metro. He'll sit there and talk to this chick, whoever this chick was. Talk to her in front of my face. And one time I just told him, and I let him know how I felt. I said, I feel like it's very disrespectful as fuck of you to be talking to another chick. We're supposed to be together. And then he would say things like, I never said that you were my girlfriend. I'm like, yes, the fuck you did. And I'm like, if you want to see other people, we can just end this shit and we can both be seeing other people. I said, because you're already seeing other people, but you want me to be loyal to you and not talk to no other dudes. What kind of shit is that? Anyway, like, it's like the worst part of the situation between me and Tim is like, he broke up with me over the phone. 3 months later, after he was done being with this girl Regina, who he met on the job, he's on the phone telling me he had stopped. He said, I stopped that old crazy bitch from coming to my house because one day she followed me home and she wanted to come in the house with me, and I told her that she couldn't come in on that day, and she started hitting on me. Now, I actually made a story time about this situation. I'm like, what she's hitting on you for? He told me that she said, you hurt me. Uh, you cheating on me because you won't let me in your house. And then he told her, take your crazy ass on, and I don't want to talk to you no more. Leave now, or I'm going to call the police to escort you away from my apartment. Then he said that did one of these. She did that to him with both hands and told him she was going to get somebody to beat him up. I'm like, then the coldest thing about it was, like I said, I did a story time about this once before. Before he broke up with her, she had bought him PlayStations, bought him expensive watches, was giving him money. And then he told me when he broke up with her, she said to him, well, all those things I did for you, all that money that I gave you. And then he said he told her, you can't buy love. You cannot buy love. I'm like, but you let her think that she was buying your love. Like, I'm not taking up for her because I don't like her, but you know good and well you used that girl like a roll of toilet paper, and you took her virginity. Because he said that she was definitely a virgin, because when he did it with her the first time and the second time, she was bleeding. Told him that she had never did it before, and like, and then on top of that, this chick was 17. His fucking ass was 25. Is another girl that he started dating after he broke up with Regina. This girl, he claimed, lied to him about her age, and that at this time he had just turned 26, and this chick was 17. One day he invited me to his house for me and him to hook up. Right after both of us got off of work, and I walk into his apartment, and the first thing I see is like pictures in the frame of him and this chick, this 17-year-old girl. And then I told him, I was like, when you supposedly found out that this girl lied to you like she was 18, did you break up? What happened? He's like, I told her, you lied to me, but I'm gonna forgive you. We can still be together. I'm like, dude, you sound dumb as fuck. It's like, he's like, her mom and her sisters had to tell me when I came over to visit her one day that what her real age was. Now, some people, a lot of people, do that. Dudes get with chicks who is 17, 18 years old, and they be 20 something in their late 20s, kicking 30, which is what he did. But anyway, it's like about Tim. Now, years later, he's hitting me up, and I'm gonna say, like, years later, after I quit working at the airport, he was still kind of working there. But years later, I see that he in a real. I see on his Facebook profile, he got married to this chick, some chick, and she was on his. He had his wedding pictures on his Facebook. Now, even though it had been 3 years later, I was still in love with him, and I didn't like seeing that. But yeah, a long story short, the last time I talked to Tim was in 2020. Him and I got into a fucking stupid argument because I had borrowed $20 from him. And then I had got paid. I told him that Friday when I got paid, I was going to pay him back, but I didn't. And then this nigga go get mad and talking about, see, that's why I can't deal with black people. I'm like, you fucking black yourself. He's like, it's just the fact that you said that you was going to pay him my $20 back and you didn't. He's like, I took that money out of my rent money to give it to you. I'm like, I don't care. Like, you have 2 jobs. I couldn't afford to pay you back because my light bill was at the time was $300. It had always been $300 for that whole year of 2020, but it was just the fact that he took some shit personal. And then when I had invited him over here before, he lent me the $20 just for a visit. I have him to take me to work. He goes the wrong way driving me to work. I was 2 hours late. And as soon as I walked into the job, and my supervisor looking at me crazy, and my supervisor was a man at this daycare center. He's asking me what happened. I told him I apologize. I made up some kind of excuse, but I wasn't gonna tell him I was chilling at my apartment with my ex-boyfriend, because what would that sound like? That would immediately been something like he would have said, well, you're fired. But that is the story. I have plenty other stories about me and Tim too, because he and I were together for 2 years. But I'm going to end this story time. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Until then, stay blessed.